one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Linda, roll call, please.
Mayor Michaelaichuk.
Here.
Council President Conahan.
Here.
Councilman Carnes.
Here.
Councilman DeCino.
Here.
Councilman Doty.
Here.
Councilman Quinn.
Here.
Councilman Rex.
Here.
Administrator Laplace.
Here.
And tonight we have Borough Attorney Alex Fisher.
Here. Okay, we're going to shuffle things up a little bit, but first thing, we are going to have a little ad. I'd like a motion to add to the agenda resolution number 271, 2024. It's for a coin toss for Lincoln Hose.
Motion. Second.
All right, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Okay. Council President Conahan.
Yes.
Councilman Carnes.
Yes.
Councilman DeCino.
Yes.
Councilman Doty.
Yes.
Councilman Quinn.
Yes.
And Councilman Rex.
Yes.
All right, very good. All right, at this point, we're going to shuffle things around a little bit more. We're going to do the proclamations first. So, we have a couple of special guests in the house right here. All right, and we'll do these one at a time. So, Amelia, come on up. Oh, yeah. We do things right. We try. All right. Mike? Okay. You got the reader.
Okay. Whereas the governing body of the Borough of Middlesex recognizes that in order for a community to thrive and succeed, they must rely on the service and support of its residents, and whereas the wisdom, history, commitment, and passion that so many of our residents exhibit and extend to their neighbors of the borough make them the pillars of our community, and whereas it is in the spirit that Mayor Michaelaichuk would like to honor and recognize individuals throughout the community who have made an exceptional contribution to the Borough of Middlesex, and whereas born and raised in Middlesex Borough, Amelia Scher is a lifelong resident, graduating from Middlesex High School in 1970, and whereas Amelia Scher has exemplified her passion and devotion to the borough by serving in numerous capacities over the years, and whereas Amelia Scher was a member of the Middlesex Board of Health for over 22 years in many positions, including treasurer, vice president, and president, and whereas she represented the borough on the Middlebrook Regional Health Commission from 1983 to 1987, in 2002 to 2010, and whereas Amelia Scher was an integral part of negotiations for a public health service contract with the Middlesex County Health Department, saving the borough approximately $500,000 in the last 14 years by reducing the costs and expanding the services provided, and whereas Amelia Scher expanded her dedication to the betterment of the borough by getting elected to the Middlesex Board of Education in November of 2023, and whereas Amelia Scher was recognized by the borough by receiving the Middlesex Borough Mayor's Award for Outstanding Citizen of the Year in 1986, 2005, and 2013. And whereas Amelia Scher throughout the years has exhibited praiseworthy service and commitment to the borough by incorporating herself as a vibrant part of the community. And now, therefore, Jack Michaelaichuk, Mayor of the Borough of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, along with the Middlesex Borough Council, and on behalf of the residents of Middlesex, wish to thank you, Amelia, for all of your dedication, sacrifice, and labor to our community. I hereby set my hand and seal Borough of Middlesex to be affixed this 24th day of September 2024.
Thank you so much. I just want to say real quickly that I'm humbled and honored to receive the recognition from the mayor and everyone on the council. It is greatly appreciated. I also want to acknowledge all of the members that I've served with on various committees. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication. But again, thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Bob.
bye-bye.
You got a lot. You got a lot. Right. Okay. Whereas the governing body of the Borough of Middlesex recognizes that in order for a community to thrive and succeed, they must rely on the service and support of its residents. And whereas the wisdom, history, commitment, and passion that so many of our residents exhibit and extend to their neighbors in the borough make them the pillars of the community. And whereas it is in the spirit that Mayor Middlesex would like to honor and recognize individuals throughout the community who have made exceptional contributions to the borough of Middlesex. And whereas lifelong resident of Middlesex, Robert Scher graduated from Middlesex High School in 1969. And whereas throughout the years, Bob Scher has shown his support of the borough by serving in numerous positions, such as on the Borough Council from January of 1978 to December of 1980, during which he was chosen as the Republican candidate for the New Jersey State Assembly's 17th Legislative District in 1979. And whereas Robert Scher was appointed as a member of the Planning Board in 2009, Vice Chairman in 2019, and later as Vice Chairman of the Joint Land Use Board from 2020 to 2022, and Chairman from the Joint Land Use Board from September of 2022 through March of 2024. And whereas in addition to volunteering many years on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, along with his participation as a member of the Joint Land Use Board, Bob Scher volunteered his time as a member of the Middlesex Board of Health from September 22 through March of 2024, and is currently an alternate member to the Board of Health. Whereas Robert Scher was elected by the residents of Middlesex Borough as mayor on November 3rd, 2009, and sworn in on November 10th, 2009, serving in that position until December 31st, 2011. Whereas Robert Scher was also selected for the Middlesex Borough Mayor's Award for Outstanding Citizen of the Year in 1986, 2005, and 2013. And whereas Robert Scher has displayed exemplary service and dedication to the municipality by integrating himself within the borough as an integral part of the community. And now, therefore, Jack Nikolajczyk, Mayor of the Borough of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, along with the Middlesex Borough Council, and on behalf of the residents of Middlesex, wish to thank you, Bob Scher, for all of your dedication, sacrifice, and labor to our community.
I just want to say thank you to the mayor and the entire council. It's truly great to be honored in such a way by our community. And I just want to say that over the years, volunteering, it's a way that we've invested to try to make the community better. And I know that it's really difficult to get people to come out and volunteer, whether it's on a board or whether it's an elected position, but it's something that the community really needs. And even now, it seems less and less people come forward to step into those roles, and it's something that's really necessary for the town to operate properly. So I would hope that this would spark some interest in especially younger individuals in the community to get involved. It's easy to sit back and say things should be done a certain way or offer criticisms. It's harder to get involved and really try to make a difference in our community. So I hope that happens. Again, I want to say thank you to everybody here, and thank you to all the members of boards that I have served on. All their work has gone on to make this community great. Thank you.
You want to job?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Mike. You done?
When you're ready.
You're lucky. Great.
There we go. Perfect. Smile. Well, those are stoic colors there. It was supposed to be, right?
It's like,
Okay.
congratulations.
Very, very
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. I just want to say thanks to you guys. I mean, I appreciate it. You know, as you know, on the many walks that you guys take and the walks that I take. We would run across each other and we'd have some pretty in-depth conversations on the spur of the moment. Some of them I think we were trying to solve all the problems in the world in one night, but that's okay. It moves on. But you're right about volunteerism. We do need people to get involved. It's what makes Middlesex a great place to live in. You know, a lot of times we were just talking about this last night. John, you used to call it a Hallmark town, which is good because, Dunellen, they call it the Miracle Mile, and, Hallmark town would be nice, but we'd probably have a little copyright infringement and stuff like that. So we're going to put your name to that. So if it ever becomes a problem, if it ever becomes a problem, it's there. But once again, guys, thank you for everything, really. We have a couple more proclamations to go. Jeremiah?
Yes, Mayor. Proclamation Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October 2024. Whereas October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is an annual campaign to increase awareness of this disease. And while we have seen an increase of mammography rates and decline in deaths, there is more we can do. And whereas the American Cancer Society continues to advise women to get an annual mammogram screening once they reach the age of 40, and whereas throughout the month of October, all women are encouraged to make a renewed commitment to following recommended screening guidelines and to make a mammogram appointment, and whereas Dance for the Cure financially assists breast cancer patients in Somerset, Hunterdon, and Middlesex counties, and whereas the Borough of Middlesex stands in solidarity with the mothers, sisters, daughters, friends, neighbors, and others who are battling with this disease, and whereas the Dance for the Cure's Tie the Town Pink campaign will be placing pink ribbons on the trees throughout the Borough of Middlesex from October 1st through October 31st to promote the awareness about breast cancer and the proper breast health and encourage annual mammograms, and whereas pink ribbons have become an international recognized symbol of courage, support, and the symbol of hope for breast cancer cure, and whereas the Borough of Middlesex recognizes the importance of working together, supporting local campaign events such as Tie the Town Pink and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And now, therefore, I, John Nikolajczyk, Mayor of the Middlesex Borough, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, along with the Middlesex Borough Council, on behalf of the citizens of Middlesex, and do by join Dance with the Cure and municipalities across the United States in proclaiming the month of October 2024 to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, further be it resolved that the Borough of Middlesex urges all citizens to join me with the council, with me and the council in spreading awareness of breast cancer and voicing our support for the Dance for Cure Association.
That it?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, one more. Mr. Doty.
Yep, proclamation, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2024. Whereas domestic violence impacts countless New Jersey residents without regard to age, race, religion, or economic status, as victims suffer at the hands of a spouse or partner, and it affects their children, families, and entire communities. And whereas Women Aware Incorporated, along with the Middlesex Dunellen Domestic Violence Response Team, has offered unparalleled services to women, children, and men who have been victimized by domestic violence. And whereas the Borough of Middlesex joins with others across New Jersey and across the nation in supporting victims of domestic violence and shares the worthy goals of this month-long observance, and likewise supports the work of Women Aware Incorporated, along with the Middlesex Dunellen Domestic Violence Response Team, as they strive to provide the best coordinated response to domestic violence in our community, sending a loud and clear message to abusers that domestic violence is not tolerated in Middlesex Borough. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Jack Nikolajczyk, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the Borough of Middlesex, and I urge all citizens to actively participate in the scheduled activities and programs sponsored by Women Aware Incorporated, and to work toward the elimination of personal and institutional violence against women, children, and men. And
all right.
Just a comment on that, I know that our police department locally is involved with this group, and they do great work, and I know chief guys can attest to that, that they show up and they help out during these situations for the abused people. Because I've gone to a couple of their ceremonies and it was heart-wrenching to hear some of the stuff that goes on. So it's a good thing. They're volunteers and they come and they help these people in time of need. It's a great thing. Keep people like that in mind.
All right, thank you. All right, what we're going to do right now is that we're going to have, Dawn Gutshaw is here tonight. Appreciate it. She's going to run us through the annual reassessment program very briefly. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to open the floor up to some questions to make sure that it gets recorded properly. It'll be almost like when we have the privilege of the floor. Please just come up to the mic, state your name and address, and we'll go from there. So, Dawn, the floor is yours.
Okay. So I want to start by saying that I know a couple years ago we did a full revow, which is only a couple years ago, and we did that because just to kind of catch up to where we are now. We did that because the state ordered us, the town, to do that, and we did a full revow. It was very costly to do that. It was not done for 36 years, and that's one of the reasons the state ordered us. There's several markers that the state looks at, one of which is the length from the last time that you did a revow. 36 is a very long time. The other factor was the ratio. Our common level ratio is at 24%. That means the assessments were only 24% of actual market, which is where we're supposed to be on 100%. And there's another marker that is kind of technical, but it's the coefficient of deviation, and that just means that how skewed the assessments are from each other. And the marker is 15, and we were at an 18. So that's, again, the third marker, which is why the state ordered us. So many people, when I sent the letters out for the new inspection area for the annual reassessment, many people were saying, oh, we just did a revow, why are we doing this now? So the reason why we're doing this now is the annual reassessment program is a program that is it's regulated by the state. There's rules and regulations on how you do it, why you do it. But it's a program where the town can keep annual maintenance for the records, so that we don't have to wait many, many years and do a full revow again. But in order to do the annual reassessment, you're only allowed to skip 1 year after a full revow to start it up. So that's why we're starting it. I did skip 1 year to save a little money. We skipped 1 year. Now we're starting. This is the first year of a 5-year cycle. It's a 5-year cycle. It doesn't mean it ends in 5 years. It can go on continuously to continue to maintain. But the 5-year cycle refers to how many times your house will probably be inspected in the 5 years. Because we do 20% of the town every year. So a lot of people got the letter and said, oh, I was just inspected 2 years ago. Why me again? And the reason why you again, you just happen to be in the area that I selected. I have to do 20% of the town every year. I started with block 1, counted how many I needed to do. It took us to roughly block number 71, perhaps, maybe 70 point something. And that's why, if you've already had an inspection, why another one so soon? Because I had to start somewhere. Also, it was 2 years ago, but in those 2 years, a lot of houses have had changes. There's been people buying and selling and flipping. There's been additions and other things happening. So even though it was 2 years ago, there is still a lot of change that might happen. This helps keep the record up to date. Again, 2 years ago, we didn't get as good of an entry rate for internal inspections because people were still fearful of COVID at the time when we did that. So it does help that even if they were in your house 2 years ago, it's not as essential, but there were a lot of houses that we didn't get into because people were still fearful of COVID. So it helps us to keep up to date. Regardless of if you have an inspection or not, all of the values for all the properties in town are going to be reviewed based on the market and brought up to 100%. It's not just the houses that are being in the 20% area. It's all the properties, commercial properties, residential properties, everything will be based on the market. So that's basically where we're at, but, you know, I'd like to field questions if you have them.
Joe DeSenza, 321 South Astoria Avenue. Want to thank you for your time tonight. I have a couple of questions. How much was, do you know how much the original, the full review was 2 years ago?
In terms of what, money or how many houses you got to?
How much money? What do we spend?
300,000. The council's telling me.
Yeah, it's about 3.
And what is your estimate for the this first phase?
The inspections, it's about, in addition to the normal cost of my office, it's about $35,000.
So it's a big savings. It's like half, a little more than half.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad.
Yeah,
So
5 years.
Yeah.
Also, the council, does that 300,000 include the tax maps?
Yeah, I got up at the last meeting and expressed the opinion that maybe we should wait. But now understanding the full circumstances, it does make sense to me that we do it and save that money, not extend 300,000 at one time. It's a lot easier than digest 35,000.
It does allow to spend, you know, a small amount every year rather than a huge amount.
Yeah, and the program itself is designed to try and keep everything equitable to everybody else. I mean, you know, a lot of people took a big hit, and a lot of people took a reduction, you know, and everyone gets very happy that, oh, the people that got a reduction, you know, they made out, but, you know, if it's 30 years in between, does that mean you were overpaying for 30 years? I can tell you in my own case, I bought somebody a car, maybe 2, you know, after all that time. And it's unfortunate, but this way it keeps, it'll keep everybody in check.
I also wanted to add, in addition, in over 36 years, so the last reval was in 1986. Over 36 years, different parts of town and different segments of the market changed at different rates. So, you know, like warehouses in 86 weren't worth very much. Now because of Amazon and the other delivery services, warehouses are gangbusters. And the result of that was when we did the reval, we were at 24%, but the commercial properties actually went up 500%, whereas residential went up 300%. That means for I don't know how many years, the commercial properties weren't really paying their fair share. And it's really great when the commercial properties, not, I mean, if you're a business owner, it's not so great, but the commercial properties, like those warehouse properties and things, they don't have kids in school, they don't have students in the system, and yet they're paying probably the most taxes, certainly more than any, you know, one homeowner in the town is paying. So it really helps to keep those values up to date. And, you know, I don't know how long it has been skewed like that, but, you know, that's a disservice to residents.
The other gentleman was first, yeah.
Yeah.
Dominic Musto, 50 Lewis Avenue. I also want to thank you for your presentation this evening. Unfortunately, I don't share the opinion that the phased reval program is fair and equitable or cost effective. Just let's get to the cost. You said it's $35,000 to do the first 20%, and there'll be 20% the following years, so that in 5 years, 100% of the properties will be reassessed.
Right.
So 35 times 5 is $175,000 in 5 years. And if you continue for the following 5 years, it's another 100, well, probably more than $175,000 because of labor rates and inflation. As an alternate to the phased reassessment program, did you consider reevaluating, reassessing the properties once every 10 years Now, I know the last time we were reassessed in 22 was 36 years prior. That's egregiously wrong. A lot has happened in the community. The cost to do the reevaluation after 30-some years, I would expect would be enormously high. And I think it's specious to say, or base any current cost estimates on the reevaluation done after 36 years. If we reevaluate it once every 10 years, we wouldn't be seeing a $300,000 reval cost. Now, that's fair and equitable, so I don't think it's cost effective. Fair and equitable. Don, you said that I'm in the first 20% to be reassessed.
Okay. To be inspected. Everyone's being reassessed.
Okay. That I don't understand. So the 20% is going to be inspected and reassessed. The 80% are going to be reassessed but not re-inspected.
Correct, not this year.
How is that? If, for example, let me just use an example. If the value of all the property in the first 20%, of all the property is, let's say, $1 million. I know that's low, but let's just use it as an example. $1 million as it was reassessed in 2022. And this year, the 20% would now be reassessed at, let's say, $100,000 or $1,100,000, a 10% increase. So all of those homes in the 20%, let's just for the sake of this discussion say, their reassessment value goes up by 10%. Do you use that as a means of determining how much the 80% of the non-inspected properties will rise?
No. So the inspections are to keep the record of the houses up to date. And they get out of, let's say, not all improvements in houses need to require permits. So it's very hard to determine if people are upgrading their homes or other things if they're not pulling permits on them. This helps to keep the records up to date so that the houses can be evaluated with like houses that are similar types of houses, similar condition houses, and things like that. I don't do inspections, and I'm only comparing homes that are similar to each other that are sales that happen during this year. So I'm not looking at the changes that, if I make changes to the 20% of houses, and those changes resulted in, I don't know, 10%, as you suggest, that doesn't mean the rest of the neighborhood, the rest of the town changed 10%. Because I'm not doing it that way. I'm trying to make sure that the record cards are correct so that I can compare everybody's house to similar houses that have sold during the year. That's how you determine what the market is. So ranches against ranches, colonials against colonials, and I might not necessarily be comparing you to the next door house if it's not the same type of house. That's not going to be the same market as your house. So it's not how you're saying.
Okay, I don't think I followed all of that.
Okay. So to determine the market value.
An example. Let's suppose it's 20% of the properties that are to be re-inspected, reassessed. You have house A, certain house, whatever it is, a ranch, a colonial. And in one of the 80% of the properties not re-inspected, you have an identical house. They're identical houses. And the one that is in the 20%, because it was last re-inspected and reassessed 2 years ago, its market value, let's say, increased in the past 2 years by whatever, 10%. Is the identical house in the 80% that was not re-inspected going to also increase by 10%?
Yes. Yes, because I'm not comparing assessments to assessments. I'm comparing assessments to sales of homes that have sold within the last year.
Okay.
So it's a market value.
Dawn?
Yeah.
Is what the assessment, when you're coming in and doing the physical, my understanding is, it's more for, I want to make sure that if I have on my record card, I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, that I'm going into a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house.
Yeah.
And its general condition is at market, above market, or below market in terms of just condition. It's a wreck, it's good, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's all you're really doing when they come in the house.
Yeah. It takes about 15 minutes to do an inspection, and they're just checking that what we have on record is what your house represents. It should be, it's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 house with an unfinished basement, unfinished attic. We just want to make sure that that's what we have.
Okay. I think you've answered my question. Let me tell you what I think I heard.
Okay.
Coming in here, I was concerned that the 20% of properties that are to be re-inspected and reassessed would most likely see a higher reassessment, because I guess real estate in the past 2 years has risen. And the 80% would stay at the reassessed value in 2022. I thought that would be unfair, but that's not what you're saying.
Correct.
So my understanding of what is correct. What you're saying is correct. Okay. Now, let me get back to the cost issue very briefly. Can I ask, had you considered, before you decided to voluntarily enter into this phase reassessment program, did you consider doing one reassessment every 10 years, not every 36 years?
I didn't consider it because I'm not the one dictating what I do. It's the council decided
So
that
Mayor and
it
Council,
was like,
did you approve of this phase reassessment program?
Yes.
Did you consider
Yes.
reassessing every 10 years as an alternative?
Yes, but you have to look at it from another standpoint. When they did the first assessment, they did not have 100% hit, which means that they didn't get into every single house. They think maybe they got into enough to make a broad-based assessment, but when you actually kind of need that consistent rolling to just basically kind of even out the field, that now you've gotten everybody. At this point, after 10 years, they're going to find a way to get into your house to make sure that you're there and what you have on the record card is correct. But right now, my bet is it's a hell of a lot closer than what it was. Is it 100% accurate? It's better than what it was, but I think that to let it go another 10 years, you're only building in a greater standard deviation and more of a chance for it to be out of whack. You're better off doing it like this because it's fair it's fair for everybody in town. It just is. Because if you went another 10 and you were messed up right now and you were paying way too much, you either have to go for a tax appeal or you're going to have to wait 10 years. This way, they're going to adjust, but the most you're going to go is 5, and then after that.
All right, you have a logic to it. I understand that. That's good.
oh, can I also say on top, the ordered reval was all supposed to happen a couple of years before it happened, but it was extended because of COVID, because I think you're supposed to start.
We were supposed to start,
in
I think,
20.
2 or 3 years earlier than what we actually
and
did.
So the state tax, the Treasury allowed for extension to get past COVID. So that contract was negotiated before, it's a couple of years before it happened. I can tell you now that I couldn't get a company to do it at the price that they did it. It's much higher now. In the state, many towns now that have been ordered for revals are doing the annual reassessment because it is a savings for the town. Even if you multiply it out, you say over 10 years, but there's other cost savings involved with that because it cuts down on appeals, especially commercial appeals, which are very costly. If the town loses money in appeals, it only goes out of the municipal portion. The school doesn't pay it back, the county doesn't pay it back. It's pretty costly. And if you go year after year after year without being able to do maintenance on your record, and your ratio declines, in an up market, it declines every single year, you're losing other money than just the cost of the inspection.
Okay. Then, one more quick question, and I'll stop filibustering. Hypothetically, let's say year number 3, 27, 2027. There's a national recession. All home prices are down.
They go down.
Everybody in the, okay, everybody.
Go down.
Okay. I'm walking away with a much better understanding.
I
Thank
also-
you for the time.
That's why we're here.
I just want to tell you, so in Somerset County, where I'm the deputy tax administrator of the county, we have 21 towns in Somerset County, 16 of them do annual reassessment. Basking Ridge, or Burnham Township as it's actually called, has been doing annual reassessment continuously for over 30 years. And they have some of the best numbers in the state. And I wouldn't bore you with all the numbers, but if you look up any parameters that there are that towns judge themselves by or counties judge themselves by, the parameter is Somerset County because they do so much annual reassessment work. Their numbers are so good every year.
Okay, thank you again.
Just as a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What are our neighbors doing? All of them. Denellen, any of the other ones that you know of?
Well, Denellen, I'm an assessor in Denellen as well. I started there a couple of years before here, and they were ordered prior to the year before you and did the whole reassessment maybe 2 years before Middlesex. They've been doing the annual reassessment since then as well. The other town that's doing Piscataway, they've been doing it for about the same amount of time. Unfortunately, in Middlesex County, there aren't as many towns doing the annual assessment, but they also have many, many towns that are now doing revaluations because they also didn't do revals for many, many years. Other towns also got ordered by the state, that didn't necessarily want to do their revaluations, but they've had to. And a lot of towns, the state is now has a lot more towns on the radar, and towns know that it's coming, they have to do the reval, and a lot of them are doing the annual reassessment because it does help maintain the records just better than other systems that are.
And it's used in state funding formulas.
The other thing also is it's nice to say, oh, well, we'll just do it every 10 years. In 10 years from now, this isn't the council and mayor that you're going to have. Maybe in 10 years from now, it wouldn't be politically nice to do a reval in 10 years from now. So that mayor and council will say, maybe we'll do next year, maybe we'll do next year. And maybe 36 years from now, we get to do it again.
Exactly, and that's how you get there.
And this kind of stops that procedure from happening.
Okay.
Dave Polakevich, 240 Hazelwood. Just a few questions. When the reval was done, earlier you cited figures, you said the residential values went up 300%, commercial went up 500. Somebody at one of the council meetings, or maybe it was Mayor Matt, made a comment that through the reval, the tax burden is going to be shifted in Middlesex to the commercial properties. Is this reassessment program going to shift the majority of the tax burden back onto residential properties?
I don't really know because it's not that we select what's going to happen. It's more of what happened afterwards. The reason it was shifted to the commercial properties is because they went up 500%. Obviously, that's a bigger shift to the commercial properties. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. If residential properties continue the way they are, maybe it would shift back, but right now I wouldn't say, what the equilibrium is. It's not a selection of what's going to happen. It's just data.
On the borough's current rateable base, can you say what's the percentage right now that comprises commercial properties and what's the percentage that comprises residential properties?
I actually don't know offhand. I didn't looked at recently.
Well, is it safe to say commercial right now is more than 50%?
Probably not. I wouldn't think so.
I haven't looked at the numbers, and I don't know well enough to make the statement.
Okay. Another question. Somebody just, maybe it was you just said, during the reval, you didn't get a percentage of visitations, people allowing you inside. Like, you're now going on reassessment with 20% of the town, and you're supposed to let you in.
Yeah.
What if they don't?
They don't have to.
Okay, then we prolong the issue of properties not being inspected. What is there
Well,
a penalty for this?
It's not a penalty, but they could be penalized because if their assessment is too high and they believe that their assessment is too high, if they do an appeal, if there's no inspection, they're not going to be heard in their appeal.
Okay, well, I would think, maybe you earlier made the comment about this non-inspections, that COVID was a factor, probably was some of the factors.
We only had about 50% entry during the whole reval. We'd like to see a higher amount. There's no...
50%?
Yeah.
And see, well, I get that letter in the mail, and I'm thinking it's almost my obligation as a citizen to let you guys in, and you're telling me 50% of this town is a bunch of scofflaws.
In 2 years ago, a lot of people were very concerned still about COVID. It was still the beginning of 22.
I think you're right that COVID was a factor, but I think there was also a percentage of people that know that they have improvements that they can get permits for, and they don't want to get taxed. There's at least a principle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why you wouldn't want to wait 10 years.
And I wanted to say, in some towns, what they do, if you don't get an inspection, they add things purposefully. They tell you they're going to do it. And so that way you get a higher assessment on purchase. I particularly don't believe in that practice and have not done that or told my inspectors to do that. But it's legal to do, and many assessors do that. And they do it so that you will let them in.
I'm not in the initial inspection zone. I'm in the other 80% this year. So I know you were commenting on this earlier, it's sort of fuzzy to me. So how are you going to judge whether my assessment should be adjusted up or down, since I'm not being inspected?
Well, you perhaps did an inspection 2 years ago, so I have that data. But regardless if you did an inspection or not, I have data on everybody's house. I have potentially what their house is. And the interior inspection, the difference that it's going to tell me is the condition. It's going to tell me if you have a finished basement, that maybe you have one I don't know. That's going to add a nominal amount. That maybe you have a finished attic and I don't know. Those are the things that aren't going to be correct. Maybe you have a bathroom that I don't know about. Those things are going to affect it, and if I don't know that you have those things, so you're going to pay less than everybody else because you didn't let the person in. But generally speaking, I have data on everybody's house. From if it sells, I collect stuff off the internet about people's homes. I get things all the time from their listings, whether they do an inspection or not. I do research. I research a permit. I do things like that. So I'm going to compare whatever I have about your house. I'm going to find as many similar houses as I can and compare what they sold for this year and decide what your value is based on those factors.
Okay. Just a couple of questions, a couple more, and I'll sit down. We were saying that the reval cost the town about $300,000. We're saying we only got into half of the homes, or helped half the properties, approximately. So does that mean if we would have gotten into more than 50%, it would cost us more, or did it cost us $300,000?
It costs the same no matter what.
So if we get into 10%, it's still would cost us $300,000. Okay. I just had one last tax-related question, really not related to the assessment, but I'm asking anyway. I know there's a bunch of appeals filed at the state level, a lot of apartment complexes in towns on commercial properties. Do you have any projections on how much in rateables we might lose from those tax payments? I mean, I know you can't comment on the individual cases, but I would think tax assessors as a group have a formula like, okay, if we have $2 million being challenged for the rateables, we can expect to lose 5%, 4%? Can you say what? And the reason I'm asking this is because I talked to Carolyn Benson today, and she was saying anybody that gets a reduction, they're going to get a credit on their future taxes, and then the tax base gets lower, which also means more taxes for us. So I'm concerned, having experienced with tax appeals in the past, that if these tax appeals, even the majority of them go the wrong way, it's going to need more money out of our bonds. Can you comment at all about that?
I believe that most of them
It's a form.
are not going to be successful. The rest of them, most of them haven't come to a court case yet. I know, I can say a couple were settled today where they dropped both years that they were appealing. And I mean, we may lose some on the apartments, but the thing is that it's not to say that they may have been adjusted next year anyway because of the current conditions in the market. The biggest thing being that the interest rate is up, inflation, the expenses are up. So therefore, when I do a calculation on how the value is determined on the commercial properties, they may have dropped a little bit because the expenses are up and their income is about the same. But, so, it all, I mean, I don't know where the value of the town is going to come out next year. I haven't really started the evaluation. I'm still doing the inspections. As far as the tax appeals go, so far, we haven't lost anything on any of them. We're fighting them. And I think we'll be successful.
All right. Well, we haven't lost any cases, but you said there were settlements. So it seems that you...
They withdrew.
They withdrew.
Several today actually withdrew.
They didn't do it. Okay. So far, out of those
20.
20, okay, there's been no loss in rate.
Not yet, no. Correct.
And there's 20 still pending.
Well, there was about 20, and they just started coming through today. I know 2 of them are going to drop the withdrawal, their appeals. So I don't know how the rest are going to go. I mean, I've looked at them. I think the reval company did a good job, and we're going to defend the value.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else?
Bruce Sanders, 10 Minutes Avenue. One comment to the council. I don't believe there's anything on the website that I saw about the name of the company that's
We're not using the company. I'm using in-house inspectors.
okay. The only reason why I ask who that is, it would be a great way to case houses. Go around.
Yeah. So the inside baseball on this is that I got the inspectors from the company that we use for the reval, but I'm using them in-house as in-house inspectors rather than hiring that company.
Okay.
The company that we used, their price went up considerably to a lot more than what we paid for the reval per line item, and I'm getting them for a lot less than they would have come in if I had hired the whole company. So, and what that also requires is that it's a lot more work for me because instead of the company doing a lot of the footwork, I have to actually do it.
Okay, I was just concerned because it'd be a great way to come in.
They
Look at the house, they have done something.
They do have IDs. They do have IDs. They have been vetted out, and they do also have the same CTA qualification that I have, all of the inspectors. So if they did something that they weren't supposed to do, there would be consequences. They could lose their regular jobs also, their state certification as well.
Thank you for the clarification on the 80%, because I was wondering how you mold that in. We discussed that. I think that's important to understand that, you know, it kind of spreads it across everyone. So I think that's important. The other thing, you mentioned about waiting 10 years, and the point here is that if you waited and something drastic happened, like a flood, we do have floods here, maybe explain what can happen to the borough.
Well, it happened, exactly happened in Manville. They did the reval right before Irene, I think it was, and the older one.
Oh, Irene.
I talked to you about in 2010.
That's Irene.
They did the reval right before that in 2009. I guess Irene was, I think it was around it was before 2010, but it was around that time. The point is they did the reval the year before that happened. The whole town, there's a section of Manville, they call it Lost Valley because it was completely flooded and wiped out. And those values had to stay on the books. And what resulted in 2010, 2011, 2012, about a third of the town appealed in each of those years. They lost in tax revenue, just the municipal portion, over $400,000 in each of those years. So because they did not do a reval, they didn't even call for a reval. They just kept the numbers on the books. And that's what happened. It was very, really, really hard for the town. They're still recovering now, which is,
15 years
later, 10 years later. Because there's not a lot of ways to change the assessments without, a reval or some system in place that's already there.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Right, thank you. All right, Frank, 2 minutes.
Frank Bryan, 303 Maple Street. I got to throw a little levity on this situation with taxes. You can see the way I'm dressed. I just left Home Depot in case there's any tax increase. I have the money to pay for the taxes. And if I stay Polytechnic, he's going to have 5 bathrooms. I like her answer. Add 5 bathrooms to his house. What about it? He'll try to cut it back. He only has 1 bathroom, but he's got 5 or 6. So, listen, I left Home Depot. I'm hoping Mike Carnahan comes across with a little money that I'm losing now, because I know this guy next to me is not going to cough up any money by the time I left, right? So, but seriously, I want to say we're here for Amelia and Bob. That was the night. And I say Amelia first and Bob second. And the town appreciates their hard work. They volunteered. They weren't forced to do things. Bob didn't, maybe he was forced to become but we're grateful. The town is grateful for what they've done, and they wanted to do it. And Bob's little speech was important. Everybody has to step up. Everybody up here, we're not going out to dinner every night, but you become acquainted with everybody. Is that your phone? I'm in the middle of talking. So, by getting out and volunteering, you get to know everybody. Coming here tonight, you get to see this woman's face. So if you have to come and see somebody, there's a face behind just an 800 number. So, again, for Bob and his wife, we're grateful. The whole town is grateful, and it's nice to have you guys honor them. Thank you.
Frank.
6 bathrooms on the way down.
Yeah, my name is Rich Thomas, 109 Green Avenue. I just have a question. You said you have data on everyone's house. Suppose there are 2 families living in one single-family house. Is that reportable? Or concerned about children in the school system, things like that?
It's not really my purview. I assess what's in the house, not who's living in it. I don't know if seniors are living in it. I don't know if kids are living in it. I don't know really about the situation of what's happening. That if I personally went into a house and I saw maybe a bad situation or something, I would just come to the code enforcement and let them know. But it's not necessarily, it's not what I'm looking for in my job. I mean, just as a concerned person, if I saw something, I would probably, let the town know, but it's not what I'm looking for.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That's it? Anybody else?
I just want to make one other comment. I'm not assessing the houses. I'm not raising the assessment to try to get more money for the town. I'm not lowering it to give someone a break. There's only a part of the piece of the pie, and just trying to make it equitable for everyone to have their, pay their portion of the pie. The town isn't having a reassessment to grab more taxes. That's not how, it's merely an equation. If they want more taxes, then they vote a bigger budget. That's how you get more taxes. It's not, they don't take on, jack everybody's assessment up, that's how we're gonna get more money. It's not how you get more money. It's just how you split up the pie.
Okay, anyone else, any other questions for Dawn? Dawn? Wonderful, thank you. We're gonna take a quick break right now before we go into the rest of the agenda. For those of you that don't want to stick around for the rest of this, outside of that, feel free. We're gonna reconvene in about 3 or 4 minutes. Thank you. Introduction tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
We have ordinance number 2136-24, an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 355 entitled Stormwater Control.
Can I have a motion?
Motion, Mayor?
Second.
Second? All right, roll call, please.
Council President Carnahan?
Yes.
Councilman Carnes?
Yes.
Councilman DeCino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
Councilman Rex?
Yes.
All right, the meeting for this, the
Hearing.
hearing will be on October 8th. Thank you.
We have ordinance number 2137-24, an ordinance amending Chapter 32 of the Environmental Commission of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Middlesex to create a Green Team Subcommittee.
Long overdue. Can we have a motion, please? And a second. Roll call, please.
Council President Carnahan?
Yes.
Councilman Carnes?
Yes.
Councilman DeCino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
And Councilman Rex?
Yes.
Okay. We have ordinance for public hearing and final adoption.
We have ordinance number 2133-24, an ordinance amending Chapter 429, the bylaws of the Board of Health of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Middlesex to clarify certain provisions.
Okay, can I have a motion to open the public portion?
Motion.
Second.
Second, all right. Roll call? All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I thought so. All right, the public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to say anything, please step up to the mic. Seeing no one wanted to step up to the mic, I'll ask for a motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'd like a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion at this point? We're good? Roll call, please.
Council President Carnahan?
Yes.
Councilman Carnes?
Yes.
Councilman DeCino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
Councilman Rex?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Okay. Number 2.
We have ordinance number 2134-24, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 244 entitled Junkyards and Junk Dealers.
Motion to open the public portion.
Motion.
Second.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, anyone wishing to come up to the mic? All right, seeing no one, I have a motion to close.
Motion.
Public hearing. All right, now motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Council President Carnahan?
Yes.
Councilman Carnes?
Yes.
Councilman DeCino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
Councilman Rex?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, number 3.
Ordinance number 2135-24, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 317 entitled Property Maintenance.
Okay, I have a motion to go public.
Second.
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, anyone wishing to step forward? All right, seeing no one wishing to step forward, motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Council President Carnahan?
Yes.
Councilman Carnes?
Yes.
Councilman DeCino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
And Councilman Rex?
Yes.
Okay. Adoption of minutes, please.
We have approval of the September 10th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
All right, can I have a motion?
Second.
And a second? All right, any discussion on this?
Abstain. Wasn't here.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And everyone approved except for
Yeah.
Councilman Doty. Okay, very good. All right, we're going to move on to the mayor's report. All right, we have a few things going on right now, or actually have gone and passed. The 9/11 ceremony, if you guys were there, it was very nice. It was well attended. I'd like to thank our partners in crime for this, Denellen, for participating. And I'd like to thank Shirley for who coordinates this every year for us. It's a wonderful event. All right. This past Friday, the New Jersey Department of Military Veterans Affairs, they had a medals ceremony. All right. I'd just like to read off the winners, the awardees. Sorry, is probably a more appropriate term. All right. Matthew Adams, Dennis Carroll, Jeremiah Carnes, David Costain, John Craig, Gary Embley, James Finnerty, Helena Gaither, Anthony Greco, Christopher Hoff, Kenneth Larson Jr., Theodore Legacki, Vincent Lella, David Laportavin, thank you guys. All right, Leonard McConnell, Francis McGuire, Richard Nilauke, William Powers, Martin Quinn, Andrew Reynolds, Hardeep Shah, and Eugene Sillett. Congratulations, guys, and thanks to you two guys that are on the council for your service. All right. On Saturday, I had the privilege of attending the American Legion barbecue contest. It was pretty well attended. They had a few barbecue groups out there. I have to tell you, I wish I could cook like that. It was dynamite. They're going to continue it for next year. I think they already have about 5 or 6 people that are going to come. It was a nice event. All right. On Sunday, I had a chance to attend the Ellery's, where he had a fundraiser for the Elks and Troopers United Foundation. Bill Spady was there. Kelsey Grammer was there. A few of the councilmen were out milling about. I think it was well attended. And I have to say, he does a good job with that. The weather was perfect. It was a really nice event. On Monday, Council President and myself, we received an invite. We went to Denellen for the Sidney McLaughlin Welcome Back. They do it right in Denellen. It was a very nice affair. Tanisha Way was there. John Bramnick was there. Muniz was there. Massacutis was there. It was really well. It was really well attended, and I have to say, you know, you don't really get a chance to meet people like this too often, and I have to say, Sydney and her parents are just a wonderful family. She was there, and she made sure that everyone that was there she talked to before she left. So she had to be there 3.5 hours at least, and she walked all up and down the fence. Kudos to her parents for bringing the kid up right. And at that point, that's all I have for my report. Okay, Council President?
Yes, Mayor. So, yeah, I wanted to echo that. She was really wonderful. She's a huge star, down to earth, and graduated Union Catholic. So she left there in 8th grade and went to Union Catholic and ran track there, and then went to the University of Kentucky. They just put her in the Hall of Fame there.
Yep.
So, so a couple things, Mayor. My some condolences go out to the family of Glenn Grau. He recently passed. He was a retired member of OEM. He dedicated over 20 years to the community. I want to thank Michael LaPlace for continuing your pursuit, Michael. I love it, the lost ratables for that Stone Bridge debacle with Middlesex County. I know Bob and Amelia left. I wanted to thank them again for all their years of service. I know you mentioned it, Mayor, but Shirley Penrose, she's done it every year. It was either 02 or 03 when it started, but coordinated our 9/11 ceremony 2 weeks back. She does it every year. It gets better and better. Last 2 weeks ago, it was great weather, and the attendance was better than the last couple of years. So, At our next, so both the fire department and the rescue squad, they're going to be coming in at our next council meeting 2 weeks from today, October the 8th. They're going to provide updates on their departments. And let's see, after almost 30 years of discussion, we are closing tomorrow on the sale of the fire headquarters property.
Yep.
Long overdue. On Sunday, October 6th at 3 p.m. in the library's community room, we have another jazz concert, and please, it's free to residents. Join the acclaimed international concert violinist Dr. David Podles for a unique jazz and classical violin concert in the community room. OEM has 2 more dates. I don't know if Councilman Doty's going to bring this up. The CPR training coming up free to residents October 30th and November 21st, but I'll let him give some more details. Reserve your free tree today. I know Claire's here, by filling out a short form on the borough website. I just sent her an email today. It was very easy to do. It took me less than 2 minutes to pick out a species of trees, and it's on October 19th to pick up, but it was really easy to do. I did it today. I want to also thank the Parks Committee, the RFP Subcommittee, and we spent over 6 hours of our time interviewing 5 engineering firms. And Rich was one of them. Thank you, Rich. And this is to create a master plan for Victor Crowell Park over a number of years. And a special thank you to Administrator LaPlace for coordinating 5 interviews over 2 nights with like 7 or 8 different schedules. It's just not easy to do. So thank you for doing that, Michael, and that's it, man.
Okay. Councilman Carnes.
Oh, nothing fine, man. Stay amazing.
Okay. All right, Councilman DeCino.
Yes, a couple of things, man. Shayla, meeting tomorrow night, September 25th. Also, not much going on public work. Don't mean not much, but status quo for those guys who are working daily and everything looks good. I started doing crack filling now. Now the weather has cooled a little bit. You can't do it in the summertime. It's too hot, and the cars just track it, so it drives a lot faster now. So it's better. Saturday, the volunteers for cleanup day. Claire is here, and Mark was here. Mark left, but I mean Claire is amazing. The work that she does. I counted 35 volunteers in the morning when I was there. Mark said today there were 40. I asked Lenny about how much refuse was picked up. 2,000 pounds of garbage.
Wow.
Now, during Mark's speech earlier in the day, he says, we're going to have to find another spot to go for this because that's how clean the park and the woods area are. So it's a great job that they do. It's amazing. Also, like Mike said, the trees. And this Saturday is the plants for the rain garden. The rain garden's there. I mean, is that what they're supposed to be? I don't know anything about a rain garden, but it seems kind of small to me. I was envisioning this huge thing, but...
They calculate how much runoff is coming off of the pavement, and then how they...
That's where it goes through. I mean, they did a great job. It's nice and clean. Whoever did the job last week. And now,
Yeah, you're happy with it? You like it?
Yeah.
And then the planting will be Saturday for volunteers for that. Like Mike said, the trees. Also, tree giveaway October 19th. And that's all I have from there.
Okay, Councilman Doty.
All right, we'll start off with OEM. Barbara Benson has done an incredible job with these CPR classes, and she got them to agree to do another class. That's why they're adding the October 30th one, and then there's also one on the 21st. Keep your eyes open. Who knows? She may come up with more, knowing her. So keep your eyes open for her. It's just incredible what she does. I don't know if she ever sleeps, it seems like. She's got so much going on. Okay, I have a police report to give that I managed to get. In August, for August, they did 1,797 calls for service. There were 19 adult arrests, motor vehicle summonses, 336, which I was talking to the chief about this in the summer. That's pretty high. So they've been out there slowing people down and making sure they're not driving so crazy, hopefully, through the town. 38 radar summonses, and they had 30 motor vehicle crashes. Just a side note, total calls so far for the year is 15,007. for our police department, which is quite large. I think last year, what was it, 20-something thousand?
22, I think, for the whole year.
Maybe, yeah.
That's through August.
This
Yeah.
through August, 15,000 so far, which is quite high. The Detective Bureau, they're investigating, they had 1 robbery, 2 harassments, terroristic threat. They had 3 burglary, trespassings, 2 thefts, 1 motor vehicle theft, and 2 shopliftings. They're in different stages of investigation. Also, just one that we don't talk about much, school security investigations. There was 81 of them in office. And for the year, there's 1,068. They go there anytime they get a call about something suspicious. So there's been over 1,000 of those for the year so far. Okay. Last thing that I have, and she's got it on here, it's part of the acceptance of the standing reports, Ariana Carroll, they want approval to make her an active junior member of the Middlesex Fire Department. And I need to get a motion and a second.
It's on the report.
It's on the report?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, someone wants to approve the report, we're good,
Yeah, once
right?
you approve the report, you have to.
Just let everybody know that the fire department sent that over. So they're getting some junior members, which is good for them also.
Sure.
So, and I know, on a side note, Mayor, you've been working with them on this, is the carnival. They're still trying to figure out what they're doing. They're still getting a little bit of a runaround from the carnival company about payment. So this is a big sticking point. Because
That's a very big
they
sticking
don't know
point.
if they still want to go with this company or what's going on for next year. I know we're trying to plan for next year, but it's kind of hard until they get things settled up with it.
Why is that? They had to close early?
I guess, and I don't know, I'm not privy to that, but I know Mr. Pazar is the lead on that, and he went to the meeting. He wasn't very happy because apparently they're going around in circles with them about it.
Is there anything we need to do?
No, it's just, they keep saying, oh yeah, we're sending it and we're figuring it out, and it's something that, they got to handle.
All right.
So, just to let you know where that's at, because I know everybody wants to have a meeting, but they don't know what to go.
Well, and it's getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, at
they
this
don't know what
point.
to tell anybody, because if they got to change companies, things could change too. So.
Well, I mean, if we need to get legally involved.
Yeah, well, yeah. We're not. I don't think they're quite to that yet. Okay.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Councilman Quinn,
I have nothing this evening.
nothing? Councilman Rex?
Just 2 quickies. The 9/11 ceremony was really, really good. I know people already spoke of it, and the event at Ellery's was John Ellery always does a great thing for fundraising, and he always has anytime he has any sort of event, it's for a fundraiser, and he always does a spectacular job. And that's all I have now.
All right, and as a side note, it's nice to see you out and about with your new Cadillac right there. All right.
It's not a cattle.
All right.
It's my 1964 Volkswagen microbus.
Well, that's okay. It gets you where you need to go, which actually is very fitting for you, by the way.
Only because I had one.
That's it. We're waiting for the Paisleys to come back. We'll be all set. At any rate, I did miss talking about one thing. We're in the early stages now, but on October 29th of October, which is where you would expect October 29th to be, we're looking to have a town hall. All right? We're not sure where we're going to have it. It may be here, it may be in the community room, but the idea is to have, the mayor. It's going to be a kind of a loose type of thing, but we want to have the department heads here. I am going to send out an invitation to the Board of Ed for the superintendent to come, and basically it's almost sort of like a kickoff to the budget season. A couple of times we've been here and you heard, well, this all starts, no one ever listens to us or no one tells us. Hey, maybe I'll need my cotton earplugs or something like that, but it's a chance for us to, talk about where we're at and where we feel as a town we want to go. And let's let's get it out there. This way, at least, everyone has a chance to get their say in. So it's, October 29th, which is the Tuesday after the second meeting of October, probably around 7 o'clock. It may be here, it may be somewhere else, depending on how many people we feel are going to come. If it's our usual steadfast, we'll be able to fit around this table over here, and it'll be no problem, but I figure we'll probably have a pretty good turnout for this. And that's all I have right now. Mike, administrator's report. Sorry, Michael.
Mayor, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to publicly recognize and thank our tax assessor, Dawn Gutschall, for joining us this evening to answer questions and address concerns regarding the borough's new program for the annual reassessment of properties. I think you can see that we really have a great professional on board handling a very difficult service for us. DPW is busy finishing up painting and other summer improvement projects in our parks and at various municipal facilities. Newly planted trees are being watered, as is our tree farm, as Central Jersey continues to experience drought. The library director, Chrissy George, has reported to me that development of the Middlesex Boorugh local history room is progressing, and we still hope that the grand opening will be next month, around mid-October. I'd like to update the council. Our council president mentioned this issue. I'd like to update the council and the public on the proposed Old Stone Bridge by County Park. It's a project of Somerset and Middlesex counties, and its impact on Middlesex Borough. I did just hear back from a representative of Middlesex County. He acknowledged formally that the borough should have been a part of the planning for the park from the beginning. He also suggested that we avail ourselves of parks and cultural affairs grant opportunities in the future. My response to him was that we are expecting a more meaningful financial compensation proposal to offset the loss in tax rateables as a result of the development of the park. And they have also given us their word that we will be part of the process moving forward in terms of planning. So hopefully we'll be able to keep the public, informed of as this project moves forward. An ordinance was introduced this evening to authorize the creation of a green team as proposed and endorsed by our Environmental Commission. The purpose of the green team, whose members will come from the membership of the Environmental Commission, is to act as a subcommittee of the Commission and work to assure clean air and water for the borough. Another benefit of having a green team in place is that it will aid the borough in pursuing environmental grants and funding opportunities. Also introduced earlier this evening is ordinance to repeal and replace Chapter 355, Stormwater Control. The proposed ordinance will bring the municipal code into conformance with current New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection regulations. The purpose of the ordinance is to establish minimum stormwater management requirements and controls for major development activities. This is defined in Code Section 355-2 as non-residential major development and aspects of residential development that are not preempted by the residential site improvement standards. And any major developments also that are undertaken by the borough. So these are big projects we're talking about. Council resolutions on the agenda this evening include authorization of the purchase of a major disaster trailer for the Middlesex Police Department in the amount of $11,947 and purchase of emergency traffic control devices for the trailer in the amount of $28,505.82. Also the hiring of 2 new school crossing guards immediately. And then finally, the authorization to award a contract for professional planning, landscape design, and engineering consulting to Suburban Consulting Engineers in an amount not to exceed $50,000. And this is consultants that will be working on the Victor Crowell Park Master Plan. There is no subject slated for agenda workshop discussion tonight. And in an executive session, we will be discussing public safety contract negotiations. Mayor?
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'd like to open up have a motion to open up the privilege of the floor.
Second.
Second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anyone wishing to speak? Come on up, state your name and address.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Rich Thomas, 109 Green Avenue. First of all, I'd like to say it's really nice to speak in front of this group. If you have a question, it gets answered. go to a Board of Education meeting, it's like talking to a cinder block. You can bring up concerns, questions, and there's never an answer. So,
But they do know a good realtor. I said, but they do know a good realtor.
yeah, that was,
That was unbelievable.
Oh, I missed that one.
I understand the comment was in levity, but the meeting itself was not a meeting where there was much fun going on. The reason I asked the question of the tax person was because I have a concern, and it's not only in Middlesex but it's statewide, and I hope it's not local, but are non-living spaces being used by families who may even be renting a room or a house or a basement? It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's a safety issue for everyone involved. And it's also detrimental to the numbers in our schools. If they're not supposed to be in town, they're not supposed to be going through our schools.
I can tell you that code enforcement has ordinances on the books to deal with that. If you have a rental property, it's supposed to be registered as a rental property. If you're renting illegally, if they're reported, they will investigate.
Is it checked when the
It's
lease
checked.
is up?
Well, there is no lease in a lot of these cases. It's checked when somebody sees it and complains.
It's usually word of mouth.
Yeah,
Someone has to rat them out.
It's illegal. Rental legal. Right.
But Jack, I'll go back to that $150 fee that landlords are assessed to check out their apartments. I think it's an opportunity to check out the apartments.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely that. I think part of the issue that you were alluding to
Yeah,
is the
somebody's
fact that
renting a basement.
if there is no apartment that
Illegals.
we know about, it's just there.
The illegal apartment.
It's a concern, I think.
No, it's a valid concern because, obviously if they have something that's going on, 95% of the time, it's in a space that's not set up for what its use is. So, you run the risk of, improper wiring, improper setup, it's not healthy probably, and everything else that goes along with it. So,
And see, it really struck me that only 50% of the houses were looked at in the reval. So
Well-
the 50% that weren't. So, I mean, it could be right for this type of use.
which is why do you really want to wait another 10 years to go back in there? That's why you go now. You want to just keep going, and eventually it's going to get to a point, because one of the learning things for me tonight was if you don't want us to go in your house, that's all fine, well, and good, but you should go to the top of the mark.
No, it was very good.
And we haven't even talked about or even explored it, but I mean, that was an interesting concept to maybe coerce some people who are being a little difficult to let you come in and check your house out.
That was passed around at the beginning of this reeval process.
You know what?
They said, if you don't let us in, we're going to say that your kitchen's brand new, your bathrooms are all remodeled, you've got the max.
Well, and maybe that's to me,
Yeah.
I don't know, Michael, would that be a workshop item? Or is that something that would be, just internally discussed with the tax assessor? How do you do that?
Well, there is a conversation that always takes place between the construction office, zoning enforcement, and the assessor's office.
Well, it's nice that they're talking about it, but what about us?
Well, I mean, I just meant that there's an ongoing effort
Right.
to have all the offices, share it.
But as far as like town guidance, I'm sitting there saying if it's at 50% and they're not really, you get a lot of people, hey, listen,
Well,
I get it, we don't have to let you in,
Right,
right,
I
which is
think
all fine, well and good, but you're going to pay.
But it was also timing, it was during the...
Oh, no, I'm not saying that it was,
Forward.
I'm saying going forward.
Let's put it on a workshop.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Next meeting is going to be kind of chock-a-block, but what about the one after that?
Okay, I'll make a note of it.
All right. Sorry, we digress for a moment.
This question.
Hey, Paul Kevich, 240 Hazelwood. I want to echo Mr. Thomas' concern about the 50% figure. And I also would endorse some type of incentive to get people to open the doors because, here's been for we're not going to spend $300,000 in one shot anymore under the new plan. But to think that we spent $300,000 and we didn't get into half of the properties in town, and some of these situations that Mr. Thomas talks about with the, illegal spaces being rented, perhaps we would have uncovered these some if, keep dealing with inspectors. And I just think that I was astounded at it's only 50%. I assume there was some that didn't let us in the 50. I mean, like I said, I get the card. I think it's my obligation.
Dave, I think if you polled the guys up here, we all agree with you.
Okay, good. I also want to echo another thing, another thing Mr. Thomas said. Sometimes we have some back and forth, or I have back and forth with you guys, and you don't like what I'm asking, and I don't like the answers I'm getting, but I do appreciate the fact that we get answers most of the time. I was at both school board meetings a week ago, whatever it was, and I don't go to a lot of school board meetings. I'm here pretty much every meeting, but they struck me as being a Politburo. I mean, they sit up there and don't look at you and don't say a word back most of the time. They let the superintendent do a lot of talking. She doesn't even answer a lot of questions. I know this is not you guys' purview. There's really nothing you can do about it. But it's a problem. It's a problem. And I think when confidence in the town erodes in one governing body, by extension, even though you guys may not deserve it, some of the confidence may erode in you too, because even though people do get answers here, they think, well, look how the Board of Ed acts. I've been to the council and they're going to treat me the same way, which is not true, but that's just a comment. But anyway, just a couple of quick things. Recently, you guys changed Board of Health contract from Middlesex to Somerset County, and you mentioned it here that you did it. Can you say why you did it? I know that there was a little bit of, I Quinn mentioned lack of response from the county.
Well, and I think, Martin,
Yes.
go ahead.
I can tell you that over the past 3 years, they do not provide the services to us that they said that they're contractually obligated to provide. They are supposed to send volunteers to the rabies clinic. They never do. They send vaccines that they tell our staff to put in their home refrigerators, which, you know what I mean, that's problematic. They run some programs, they just don't inform us they're doing them. They're really bad. We have to beg to get people to attend our meetings from the service provider that's providing the service to our board. It's pathetic, really.
Yeah. And I was on the board, Dave, for several years. It's a couple different stints, and when we first, I think it was 19 or 20, up until 22, at the beginning of it, I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah, no, I was going to comment.
We couldn't get reporting. The reports we got weren't legible. We asked them to be. We couldn't get any of the county officials to attend. We couldn't even get them to respond to a call or an email.
It's a lot of money to spend
like
for no...
76 grand a year for, and we got zero.
Yeah, well, I don't know. A couple of years ago, I think I was looking at some old Board of Health minutes online, and like you said, I was looking back for a couple of years ago. This was a problem a few years ago. And the board was saying, no one's responding, no one's responding.
If you go back even to the minutes from the past couple of years, you'll see that they've declined a bunch of the reports in the past 2 years because there's just not enough information to even approve them.
Well, just one health issue I want to talk about. I haven't heard anything about it. People don't come to the meetings and talk about it, so maybe it's not even a problem. But over the years, people complain about industrial odors periodically. Is that still a problem in town?
Periodically there are complaints before the board about it. Spray tech seems to be one of the larger issues, but they seem to only create the problem after 5 p.m. on any given day. And when they call for the county to come in, 7 o'clock in the morning, they show up and there's no more order.
If you want to read something interesting, go online and Google Spray Tech Pennsylvania or Pennsylvania facility. There was an interesting incident with the town. I guess it's that one, right? That one, I'm not sure. They had some problems there in August or July with some odors, and there was back and forth between the inspectors of the town and Spray Tech's people. I'll let you guys read it if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go online. Just one last comment. When the tax assessor was here, she made the comment about, budgeting affects what people get in their tax bills. And I think part of the concern, or part of the turnout you've had at some of these meetings, more so a month ago, when people got the letters, once they saw this reassessment, they started thinking, oh my God, my tax is going to automatically go up. That's not necessarily the case. I think the problem in people's minds, they don't differentiate between taxes and tax assessment. They're two different things. And Dawn explained that tonight. But I think what you guys have witnessed here in the last month or so, and even you see some of it on social media. I mean, I was in the spring talking about 7.5%, and I was the only one here talking about it. But I think what you guys are sensing, or should be sensing, is that there's some people in town who are feeling that the taxes, in just last year or two, have just gone up too much for whatever reason. I would hope that you guys would take that to heart, and you talked about this town hall meeting, you're going to have the department heads there start looking at things and start making a commitment already that next year it's not going to be anywhere close to 7.5%. And Mayor, you made a comment one time about services, we don't want to cut services. Well, maybe, you have to trim services a little bit here or there. If rather than just keep pounding people at 7.5% every year, if you have to close something for one day a week, or cut back on something temporarily until we get on more footing, then do it. Because I just don't think a lot of people can sustain this amount of taxation. I know it's not just you guys, Board of Ed, same thing. But I just hope you would take this as a sign that it's not just Dave Polakevich here that's concerned about taxes. There's a lot of people concerned about taxes.
Dave, just to give you a level, I mean, we didn't even get started, and we've had several, conversations about when we dig into this, we really have to be dead serious on how we're going to go. We have to research and uncover every stone. One of the things that I sent was, as a matter of fact, I sent it today, was, I saw an article, and it was basically on real wages, in Middlesex County. Actually, it's for the state, and it was just, and I don't know how true it is, and, I don't know what kind of stuff they pick. But if you looked at it, believe it or not, Middlesex was one of the highest wage increases over the last year, right? And guess what? It was like 0.8%. Everyone else was in the loss column, which tells you, if you start looking at the numbers a little bit closer, I mean, what's 0.8%? Nothing. You look at your food, you look at your gas, so we get it. Believe me, we get it. And we may have to make some tough decisions this year, but our thing is that we do want to try and keep it as low as possible. I've already talked with the council president and Michael. We want to have just as a kickoff for ourselves. I want to have an understanding of exactly where our revenue is coming from, all of it. So we have to know where to start from to know where to go.
Yeah, and I would think by now, this is, bordering on October, only about 3 months left in the year, you should be able to project what your revenues are going to be for the year.
You'd say that, but last year it came and bit us by February at this point.
What do you mean?
There were certain things that we thought were going to happen that were going to come out that didn't happen, and it created a little bit of an issue. We're trying to do everything to make sure we don't fall down that wormhole again.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else? Bob? No? Okay. All right, motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, deep breath, Linda.
Okay, we have Resolution 256, 2024, acceptance of standing reports. Resolution 257, 2024, 2024 sewer billing waived appeal for Block 86.02, Lot 23. Resolution 258, 2024, authorizing the sale of surplus personal property, 2017 Chevrolet Capri, on an online auction website entitled municibid.com. 259, 2024, 2024 sewer billing waive appeals for various properties. Resolution 260, 2024, authorizing the tax collector to cancel the balance of fourth quarter 2024 and preliminary 2025 taxes for Block 163, Lot 37.01, Resolution 261, 2024, authorizing the refund of street opening permit number 2022-009, Resolution 262, 2024, approving the purchase of a major disaster trailer for the Middlesex Borough Police Department in the amount of $11,947, Resolution 263, 2024, approving the purchase of emergency traffic control devices for the major disaster trailer in the amount of $28,505.82. Resolution 264, 2024, accepting the Hewlett-Packard Design Jet 5500 printer as surplus. Resolution 265, 2024, authorizing award of contract for professional planning, landscape design, and engineering consulting to Suburban Consulting Engineers, Inc. of Wall, New Jersey, in an amount not to exceed $50,000 for a one-year term commencing on September 24, 2024. Resolution 266, 2024, hiring Kenneth Haas as school crossing guard effective immediately. Resolution 267, 2024, hiring Ronald Katz as school crossing guard effective immediately. Resolution 268, 2024, reimbursement of dog license fee in the amount of $23 to Robert Dalton due to insufficient rabies vaccination. And Resolution 271, 2024, approval of a coin toss for Lincoln Hose Company number 1 at the intersection of Lincoln Boulevard and Mountain Avenue.
Okay. Does anyone need any of these pulled? Nope. Okay. Could I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Council President Conham.
Yes.
Councilman Corns.
No.
Councilman DeCino.
Yes.
Councilman Doty.
Yes.
Councilman Quinn.
Yes.
And Councilman Rex.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes. All right, on to the non-consent agenda.
I have Resolution 269, 2024, payroll claims.
Okay, could I have a motion?
Second.
Second. All right, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Council President Conham.
Yes.
Councilman Corns.
No.
Councilman DeCino.
Yes.
Councilman Doty.
Yes.
Councilman Quinn.
Yes.
Councilman Rex.
Yes.
Okay, it passes. Agenda workshop item, we have none, and we have no, obviously we have no public comment on that. Executive session, please.
I have Resolution 270, 2024, executive session.
No action, correct?
No action.
No action, all right. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Council President Conham.
Yes.
Councilman Corns.
Yes.
Councilman DeCino.
Yes.
Councilman Doty.
Yes.
Councilman Quinn.
Yes.
Councilman Rex.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break for a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna go into this.